So I was very young age. I must have been 13 and always getting upset and angry. You know, my aunt is the one that raised me, but I remember her, and of course, she didn't mean to do this. She didn't know how to be a mother. So her way of loving was like, you're an idiot, you're stupid, cállate, eres una tonta. You know, so that really hurt me.
Welcome to Season 3 of the Love, Health, Prosperity Podcast, LHP Podcast for short. Every week, we do our best to bring you the most dynamic speakers because it is vital that all the information that we have to give you guys is quality information. Not only that, a lot of times we don't want to be lectured. We're not at university or school to be lectured. We want real life scenarios from real people that struggle with certain things in our society. In our community, we have a very unique border town. We love it. The culture, the people, and all the things that we do. But lately, we've noticed that there's a lot of issues regarding mental health, and not only mental health, but also other subjects such as anger and where that comes from. Today's guest is going to talk to us a little bit about managing that, identifying those things, talking to people that are not necessarily in the mental health field brings us so much value because it's people talking. And when people talk, people listen. And if these stories are interesting and the information is helpful, that's all that really matters. Today's guest is Olivia. She is the founder of Queen Up Now. And if you haven't seen some of her material or content on the internet, it's extremely impressive. We want to give her a round of applause, Miss Olivia, for being with us.
Thank you so much. I'm super duper excited to be here. Thank you. Because, man, it's time that we help people heal. And if my story can help somebody, I'm all for it. Let's do this.
Yes, absolutely. And your content, let me just compliment you on that, because not only are you, active in our community, but you're also a motivational speaker. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? How's that experience been for you?
So I started, a lot of people they asked me, Victoria, what about this? How about this? And I mean, for advice, and I think it's super cute and awesome, but I didn't feel like I was, equipped to give people advice. So I started telling people, you know what? This is how I feel, and this is how I did this. Mm-hmm. If it helps you, great. If it doesn't, then they definitely need a professional. I am not a professional. I'm just sharing my story and what I did to help me with anger, with relationship issues, with my abandonment, especially the rejection issues that I felt from my biological mother. Mm-hmm. So everyone kept asking me, man, you should do a course. You should just go on stage. And one time, I said, what I want to do is I want to get on a stage and just talk to women and give them my story. So nobody was asking me to be on stage. No one ever asked me. So guess what I did? I said, I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to start Queen Up Now. And then I'll be able to be on stage and speak to hundreds of women. And that's what I did.
Empowerment.
We need the empowerment. These women, we are the pillars of our household. We decide what kids are going to eat. We decide what school they go to, because most of the time the dads are working. And of course, most of the time the women are the disciplinaries. We're the one that keeps everything straight. So if your mind is healthy, so will everybody around you.
Thank you so much for saying that. Yes, so when it comes to frustration and anger, Victoria, a lot of times we think that, we could just go to one specific person to help us with that. But as people will know and hear with your story, they're gonna notice that there's a lot of things that really benefited you down the line. According to the DSM-5, which is a diagnostic manual for mental health disorders. Intermittent explosive disorder sometimes has rage, irritability, more tension and energy, racing thoughts, temper tantrums, crying spells. But we're not here to talk about that. Like I said, we're here to talk mainly more about how to deal with anger and frustration.
Yes.
When did you notice, that you were having difficulties with managing frustration?
So I was very young age. I must have been 13 and always getting upset and angry. My aunt is the one that raised me, but I remember her, and of course, she didn't mean to do this. She didn't know how to be a mother. So her way of loving was like, you're an idiot, you're stupid, cállate, eres una tonta, so that really hurt me. So what did I do is I lashed out. I started screaming back, yelling, and I remember getting so mad. I could see red, like angry, and I didn't know how to control it. I didn't understand. But again, I truly believe that it's the stories you tell yourself. In my head, I was telling myself, she hates me. This woman hates me. She's not my mother.
So you think it's the programming in the mind then?
In my opinion, and that is just my humble opinion, this is what helped me, is changing the stories I would tell myself. So instead of saying, she hates me, why am I not good enough? She says she doesn't love me because she thinks I'm a bad person. I started saying, well, you know what? She doesn't know better. She doesn't know how to love.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with me. She is projecting her insecurities, her anger, her pain, her hurt on me. So the story I started telling myself is like, oh no, she loves me. She just doesn't know how. And that's how I changed, little by little. I mean, this is when I was 13. I mean,
you were in middle school when this was taking place. Can you think of a specific incident as you were growing up that really affected you till this day?
Till this day, yes. So my aunt, I got home from school and I was late. I must have been 14 and I was very late, but I was in volleyball practice. Okay. My eye was super red. So when she got home from work, she started telling me that I was smoking pot. O eres una marihuana, no puedo creer porque llegas tan tarde. Look at you, you're over there with the wrong crowd. You're nothing but trash, just ugly things.
Yeah.
And I was like, what did I do? I was in volleyball practice. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Well, get this. The next day they call her from school. They send me home because I had pink eye.
Okay.
Yes.
So for pink eye, they sent you home. And
so that day I knew she never apologized. And I knew that I had to change something. If not, I was going to continue to live that life. Imagine being 14 years old and thinking about your life. How do I get out of this house? I am tired of this lady calling me names. She thinks I'm out smoking weed. And I had never, not once, done any type of drug. So I knew then something had to change.
So that must have been very difficult at that young age. And that's when you discover, because right now you mentioned that you were seeing red, literally. You were shaking and you were so upset. And that definitely affects your way of being.
Yes.
And it sets precedents for the rest of your days also.
It really does.
So how at such a young age did you notice, okay, well, something's got to give? What do we do?
Oh, I went through a lot of drama after that. Not till I think I was 19 years old. Okay. I got pregnant at 15 to get out of my aunt's house. I picked the guy and I said, this guy has a job. He's older because he's way older than me. And I said, this is a person. This is a person that's going to take me out of this crap hole I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, I was 19. And again, it's the stories you tell yourself. My husband at that time had gotten home really late from work. In my head, okay, he gets home at 5. It's already 5:30. There's no phones back then. There's no cell phone for me to call him. And in my head, I'm thinking, he's with another woman. I know he's cheating on me. I know he's doing things he shouldn't be doing. So when he got home, this poor guy, I was livid. Again, the story I'm telling myself, he doesn't want me. He's rejecting me. He's abandoning me. He's leaving me for someone else. So when this guy gets home, I'm already looking, my mind is about to explode from the anger, the pain. He got home and I was like, you piece of have. And I just started throwing things at him. I grabbed a knife.
Oh.
And I was like, who were you with? You gotta tell me. Imagine being 18, 19 with all that pain.
That is a lot of pain. So at the moment when you decide to pick up a knife and say, I want to hurt this guy.
Yes.
What then when you calm down? I mean, what was going through your mind?
Well, he had to leave the house. I couldn't calm myself down. He left. He ran. Thank God he did. You know, he left the house. But once he left, then I'm like, what did I just do? What am I doing? When he came back, we talked about it. And he said, I was at work. My boss was there and I couldn't call you. I mean, I don't know why you got like this, but this can't happen anymore. And of course, at that point, I started crying. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. I don't know why I act the way that I act. Please forgive me.
And this all had to do with the programming then. From the moment when you were little, living with your aunt, her insults, her abuse, her emotional and verbal abuse had a toll on your upbringing then, and carried on into your relationship.
And not just that, my mom, my biological mother, left me when I was 2 weeks old. She left me with my father's grandparents. So my grandmother, my grandfather, and my aunt raised me. By this time, I have all this anger and I don't know why. I'm dealing with abandonment and rejection. Just think of this, a 2-week-old little girl that has heard her mother's voice when she was in her womb. She heard the love, even if it was despair and she was upset, I still heard her voice. This is a woman that is caring for me in her tummy. 2 weeks later, I don't hear her anymore. After I was born, she drops me off with my grandparents. I don't know what I'm dealing with. Abandonment and rejection issues. Now they're seeping in my body, my soul, my mind, my spirit. And here I am growing up thinking, why am I such an angry little girl?
Over time, did you discover what it was that was making you so angry? I mean, I know it was what you had mentioned right now.
Yeah.
But when did you realize that, okay, I got to get serious about managing this? I need to see perhaps, I don't know, a professional about it. Can you give us some insight?
So I did. I went to a professional. I was just tired of being angry. They gave me medication. I was always tired with a medication. I was sleeping all day. Like this Victoria, the passionate, excited, ambitious, motivated Victoria was gone now. Because of the medication I was taking on a daily basis.
The side effects.
Yes. I stopped the medication and I decided I'm going to go more holistic. I went to Reiki, my first Reiki session. Okay. And I started, with a friend of mine. Now he's a friend of mine. Back in the day, his name is Julio. And he said, Victoria, we have a lot of work to do. Are you ready? There's going to be a lot of downloads and a lot of things coming up, but you need to be ready for this. And of course, Victoria's like, I'm ready. Let's do this. I just want to feel better. But it's been a struggle. I'm talking about this was over 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah, well, it's definitely a win when you start realizing all these things.
Yes.
And when you reach out for resources that are going to really lay a hand in helping you manage all this.
Yes.
Did you identify certain things? Nowadays, they call them triggers. What are your triggers? What were the 3 main things that were causing you so much frustration and anger
and pain?
And
yes.
pain. Yes.
The rejection and abandonment. So when I was in a relationship, okay, this is a game I played. I'm going to leave them before they leave me because they're going to leave me. I'm psycho. I'm crazy. Everybody says Victoria's crazy and psycho and she's always mad. They're going to leave me. So I'm going to test it.
These were your assumptions.
Yeah, these were my assumptions. The stories we tell ourselves in our head.
The programming.
Yes, we continue to do that over and over. So I said, you know what? What if I start changing the story? Okay. What if I start saying this guy, at that my partner then, he does love me. He just didn't know how. Just the way I changed the story about my mom abandoning me. That story I used to tell myself, why did my mom leave me? I couldn't even talk about my biological mother or father because I cried all the time. Why did they leave me? Was it because I was ugly? They thought I was going to be dumb? Is it because maybe my dad isn't really my dad? Why did they leave me and not my siblings? Why little Vicky? So the story. And then I changed it. You know what? My mother left me because she wanted me to have a better life. I was her favorite. She left my brothers and sisters with her. And now if you compare lives, I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Mom, that she left me.
Yeah.
But I started changing the story. My mom loved me so much. She left me with my grandparents because she knew I was going to have a better life with my grandparents. Immediately, I was like, I even felt that weight of the world coming off my shoulders. And I said, you know what? This feels pretty good.
I love that you're mentioning the reprogramming of the mind, because that is something essential that we need to do to begin changing our thoughts, our emotions, the way we view life. I want to go a little bit more into how you started doing that, but what are two other things that you would do to help you calm down after having an episode of anger or frustration or pain?
I would have to leave the house. Definitely go for a walk. That was very important, and clear my mind. The third thing is breathing exercises. Okay. I had read a book when I was very young, and I think I only read like maybe that one chapter about breathing. You have to take a breath because we forget to breathe. We're going and going in our society. We're just running and running, and we forgot to breathe. Even when we're having a drink, a cup of coffee, or we're eating so fast, we forget to chew. So breathing was so important to me. Take a breath. It creates oxygen in your head, your mind.
You're able to think clearer.
Yes, you start thinking clear. But those breaths, even now, when I'm going and going, I'm like, Victoria, take a breath, girl, take a breath. And I'm, okay, I got this. Yeah. Breathing was very important for me.
And you're right about that. A lot of people tend to forget that it's free. And it's something that's available.
Yes.
But, when you start seeing red and your mind starts wandering towards the frustration and the anger, sometimes people just lock up. But you are completely right. The breathing has so many benefits, and it helps so much. All you need is 15 seconds to just take a little breather on the side and gather your thoughts. That's a good thing. You had mentioned also Reiki. How did that help you out? And for those that are listening right now, what is that?
So, and I'm going to tell you, the reason I went to Reiki is because they told me that this was going to help me. So there I go, my first Reiki session, and I'm sitting there in one of the massage tables, and they're like moving my energy, and they're like, do you feel it? And I'm like, yeah, kind of. I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. Do you feel the heat? I'm like, oh yeah, I do feel that,
They're
perfect. Like, that's your energy. And I'm like, oh, wow, you can feel. I had no idea. A mí me decían, Victoria, you need to go because you're going to heal if you go take Reiki, if you go to therapy, if you go to prayer, go here. I was always wherever they asked me to go because I wanted to heal so bad. I wanted to have that life, the one you see on TV, that perfect little marriage. And now I know that doesn't exist.
The picketed fence and all that good stuff.
The woman that doesn't get mad, and she's such a good mother and a good wife. And I'm like, how do I get that? I already know for a fact I am never going to be that person. Yes. It's just not going to happen. I had to learn to love myself for who I truly am. I'm passionate. I'm ambitious. I'm loud, but I'm also proud. Before I used to be like, oh my God, I'm so loud. One time I had a guy tell me, Victoria, cállate, parece que te tragaste un micrófono. Did you eat a microphone? You're so damn loud. And I was like, oh, well, that really crushed my spirit. And now I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm loud. I don't know what to tell you.
No, it's embracing who you are as an individual. Yeah. And that's a part, I think that out of all the things that you were doing, the one that was working the best was the reprogramming of the mind and accepting who you are and letting people know, hey, this is my authentic self.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that. So many people hide from doing that, Victoria. And it's not even funny how people do that. But I think that COVID has a lot to do with it also. Well, the pandemic, and I know there's a lot of people that may not agree with this, but nowadays people are just in a hurry all the time. Yes. They're wanting to complete tasks. Right now, you're on the freeway. People are tailgating you. I'm the slowest driver. I'm on the left-hand side all the time. And people are tailgating me, honking at me, trying to go 70, 80 miles. It's like, you need to slow down a little bit. And it seems as if we're living in a world right now that's just impatient. Have you noticed that?
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I was the one tailgating you. That was me. Yes.
All right, I'm taking the license plate
You're
down.
right. So yes, and you are right about that.
Yeah.
And again, once we start taking breaths and we start just living in that moment, it's so important to actually live in that moment of peace. We had a conversation, my husband and I, and we read books together just to grow together.
Yeah.
Okay. We read to grow together. I'm telling him something and he's already thinking of what he's going to tell me. He doesn't let me finish. He goes, no, but we got to do this. And I'm like, wait. I said, please hold space for me because you're not paying attention. He goes, yes, I am. I said, okay, what did I say? Well, I don't know, something. I said, okay, let's talk, let's communicate, listen to what I'm saying before, because you're already thinking what you want to say. He says, you're right. I was. I said, okay, can we listen to each other? He listens to what I'm saying. I listen to what he's saying, but we have to catch ourselves and say, hey, do me a favor, hold space for me right now and just listen, please. And he also does that with me because we don't listen now. We jump to conclusions and we're waiting for him to be quiet so I can tell him my story because my ego is bigger than his. I need him to listen to me because Victoria knows everything. Listen, I know you don't know anything. That is just, we're not. Everybody has their own individuality. My husband, my cousins, my kids are not going to think the way I think. And we have to respect that. That doesn't mean they're wrong. That doesn't mean they're right. They're right in their own way. I'm right in my way. It's kind of like, I don't know if I did this with, as a matter of fact, I did it with my husband. The number 6. If you write the number 6 on a sheet of paper, put it on the floor, you're on one side, the other person's on the other, you're going to see 2 different things.
I see a 9.
Exactly. I see a 6. And I am not going to get you out of that. You will bet your life that's a 9. I will bet my life that's a 6. Who's right?
Big controversy. Right?
Exactly.
But the point is that, we both have 2 different ways of seeing things. And through communication, we can work things out for sure. I'm in the business of healthy relationships and making your relationship work.
Yes.
And since we are talking about anger and frustration, what are some of the things that makes you angry about your significant other at home?
Ooh. And he's going to be listening. Huh?
This is going to be a good episode.
Yes. Actually, I think because at this point, he still does. He makes me angry. But at this point, honestly, there is nothing that he makes me angry about. I make myself angry. For example, and this happened 2 days ago. I decide that I want to cook and clean the house when I get home from work. He's tired. He wants to watch TV and read his book. But in my mind, Victoria's like, you're not helping me. Why aren't you helping me? In his mind, he's like, because I'm tired. So he told me, he says, babe, you're the one that decided you wanted to come home and cook and clean after a long day. You actually, when you're cooking and cleaning, that makes you feel better because that's how you relieve stress. I relieve stress by watching TV and reading my book. So there's 2 different, the way we think is 2 different ways. I had to take a step back and say, you know what? I'm getting angry for the wrong reason. First of all, he didn't even know I felt like cooking and cleaning that day because it's not like if I do it every day. So now I got to take a step back and I do. I get mad at that moment and I'm like, you don't help me. Why don't you get up? And then when I start with my hands and start being louder, I catch myself and I say, that's not that Victoria that everybody sees. Is this the Victoria you want people on Facebook to see? Is this the Victoria that when you come and do a podcast, you want people to see that Victoria? Because, lady, you got to practice what you preach.
Amen.
So now I'm like, I look around and I'm like, okay, if your let's say your friends are watching, is that who you want them to see? No. Babe, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm the one that wanted to cook and clean, not you. And I know you're tired and I know you don't want to help right now. So thank you. I appreciate what you said. You know what he does? he gets up and starts helping me. All because I gave him the grace.
Okay, I see what you did there. And that's something that really works out for you guys really well.
Yes.
That's cool. Communication is definitely everything in a relationship for sure.
Yes.
Especially when both of you guys have had a rough day, right?
Yes, absolutely.
What are your plans for the future regarding Queen Up Now? Can you talk to us a little bit about Queen Up Now and on the topic, right? Because I know that being a creator, just like people in the field of dance and public speaking and the mental health, it's an art. How has it been beneficial to you regarding this topic, being an entrepreneur and keeping your mind busy?
Yes.
How has that helped you with anger, frustration, pain, and all the things that you grew up with?
Every time I get on a stage and I tell my story, I keep thinking I'm helping all these women, right? With my story, it helps them and giving them all this, advice, if we can say that, right? I'm not helping them. I'm helping myself. I'm the one that is taking my own advice, because every time, and you say it, they say that the mother of learning, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's okay.
I totally the skill of oh my God, I forgot. Okay.
But one of the things that I did notice for sure is when you were talking, you mentioned a lot accountability. You said to yourself, okay, if there's got to be a change here, then that change has to come from me.
Yes.
And that's accountability.
Yes.
How's that worked out for you?
It works out perfect. Accountability, you have to take full responsibility for your life. Okay, anything that happens to me or is going on in my life has nothing to do with my husband. It has nothing to do with my children. So I had a few relationships, relationship after relationship after relationship. And I'm thinking, okay, there's all these people saying that Victoria's this way. All these people are all on the same page. They're calling me crazy. They're saying I'm always angry. They're saying that I'm just not a good partner. I finally decided, you know what? It's me. It's me who has to change. I need to make that change for my children, for my children's children's children. I want to be the black sheep of the family that takes a stand and says, we're done with this. I have 2 daughters.
We're breaking the cycle.
We're breaking the cycle and we're doing it full force. Because if I don't do it, who am I going to leave it up to? My kids? What if they decide not to do it? Now it's on my grandkids. I'm going to take full responsibility for me, for my family, and I'm going to break that cycle and make it a good life for everybody. Not perfect life, not the happiest life you've ever lived, but a joyful life full of peace, love, joy, and an abundance of whatever it is that you want in your life.
I love that. And I think that it's so awesome that you were able to identify, all the things that you needed to do to make your life better, and how your attitude and the way you look at life and the programming not only affects you and your work, but also the people around you and the generations to come.
Yes.
So this topic here, anger, frustration, believe it or not, carries on to the next generations if we don't fix it ourselves.
Absolutely.
Before we end, because believe it or not, we're already at that point where we have to end. That was quick, wasn't it?
Very quick.
I would like for you to talk a little bit about where people could actually find you, and how they can perhaps look into some of the things that you do for inspiration.
Absolutely. And then get this, March is Women's Month, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes. So I'm just so excited and amazing. It's just amazing that I love to help women get to the next level. I wish somebody would have grabbed me by the hand when I was 13 and said, this is the way you can do it in a loving way. Okay. That's what I want to do for women. I want women to understand that if Victoria, a 15-year-old that got pregnant, that has no college education, that didn't finish high school, didn't have a great childhood. If Victoria can help other women, if Victoria has an amazing career, if Victoria has this beautiful life full of peace, love, and joy, so can you. You can have everything that I have, an abundance of more. Why do I tell you this? Because if you want it, you can achieve it. But it all starts here with the stories we tell ourselves.
Yes.
That's all you need. You just, that little tweak, that right there is going to change your life. It's not going to be in one day. It might take 2 weeks. It might take a month. It might take 6 months. Heck, let's say it takes 6 years. Who cares? But at least you're doing it one step at a time. And anybody can have that beautiful life of peace, love, and joy.
Thank you so much, Miss Victoria. I appreciate you being on our show today.
Thank you.
You will bring a lot of value to our show. Many people that are watching this will be able to benefit, especially the young ladies. A lot of people that are watching it that perhaps are having situations in their relationships where they need to kind of take a step back and breathe and hang in there. Absolutely. This topic has been awesome, and it's been a pleasure to share this space with you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And thank you guys for watching this week's episode of the LHP podcast. We want to thank Victoria Olivia. Check her out. She's her Instagram page is Queen Up Now. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next week.